I'm sure if we scroll
All
down
right, I
more.
don't want to harp on this
Well, I
forever.
do, because this is really what we're trying to get at. Like, find a place, test the market. Once it starts working, double down and find more success. This is a perfect example of this. I don't know how many times we run into this where it's this small changes having this much additional sales velocity.
I do want to jump into what we're actually talking about tonight, which is me and Steven doing some over-the-shoulder looks at results pages. So definitely something we've done in the past, kind of what we built this community around initially, was just showing off how exactly we were having success with print on demand. So getting back to that a little bit, but really what we're trying to show you guys is how we're leveraging Amazon, and not only where we would put the shirts or listings that we're creating, but what we would be putting there. So Steven's going to be sharing some tips on keywords, and I'm going to be sharing some tips on the art, and we'll just be talking about kind of this Goldilocks idea that we came up with of, like, you know, is this too crowded? Is there too much competition here? Is it too flooded? Or is there just the right amount of competition? And can we see a clear trend of designs that we can create something here that's original, but taking the information that Amazon is giving us of what the customers want and using that strategically. And so that's what we're going to be doing, just jumping into the over the shoulder. But the first thing I think we should do is kind of cover our bases. And so we should talk about our 5-step test, which used to be the I don't know, thing that we talked about every second on this channel. We've gotten away from it a little bit, but it doesn't mean that it's not still as powerful as when we first came up with it. So we've revamped it a little bit for 2020, but the basic core concepts are still there.
How this came about was me and Nathaniel in the beginning just were testing the market, just trying to figure out what worked on different platforms. We found that there were a set of validation steps that we could use to help us in our business. And now we kind of put them together, refine them a little bit to help you guys spend less time learning and figure out what to look for, and help you guys increase your sales and sell more with less energy and effort.
Yeah, I think you said it, but I want to say it again, that this is for the organic search way of doing print on demand. So let's go ahead and jump into this first rule, which is we want to make sure that whatever we're typing into Amazon actually autofills. And that means going to Amazon, typing in their search bar, and making sure that it auto completes whatever we are typing in, because that represents that customers are actually going there.
Yeah, there's many tools. There's many people that say, oh, I know exactly how much volume is here. The truth is Amazon hides that information. They're never really going to let you know. There are some tools that do some in-house operations and equations to figure out like good guesses, but it's truly not 100%. We like to just go to Amazon and see what Amazon is saying. Is Amazon auto-completing this? That it's at least a good sign that other customers are searching that same thing.
Yes. So the second rule that we have for our 5-step test is that they have similar product types. So similar product types and similar competition that we're going against.
Yeah, and it's not just t-shirts. Whatever product that you're planning on selling, just make sure that when you're doing market research, that product is showing up and that customers are actually purchasing it. Right. To save yourself a lot of time, because we did a lot of attempting to sell different products in places where that customer base just did not buy that product, period.
They didn't care about our products. But the third rule that we have is that we want to see fewer results. We've changed this rule up quite a bit over the years, but fewer results is what we're sticking with now, because that means that there's less competition there.
Yeah, we used to put numbers in there. It used to be a lot easier because Amazon would give you the actual results for that search term. Now they don't really do that. A lot of other platforms also are hiding the amount of results. So we've tested out different numbers. We found that it's very hard to set a number here because people kind of get stuck on that number and don't start testing the market. And the true test is for you to actually put something in the market and see if it works for you. We've tried different niches and talked to other people about different niches. We've had no success where other people have a lot of success. We've also found a lot of success in places that other people haven't found success. It just kind of depends on your art style, your understanding, your ability to put it into the market, and the customers relating to that and actually purchasing it. But fewer results regardless of the number. And when we do a little over the shoulder, I'll show you some tricks to kind of see the number, but there's no guarantee. Just know that less results is less competition.
Yeah, and a lot of this changing of our five-step test has to do with us keeping up with Amazon. The way they handle data is much different than 3 years ago, the way that they were handling data back then. So again, just trying to keep it relevant here in the new year. But the fourth rule that we have is we want you guys to look at BSRs because those will represent the sales that are happening on the page, and that's very important when deciding where and what to put a listing.
Yeah, this is something else we used to have numbers on, but really just are there BSRs on the first page that just represent sales? If you're going somewhere and there's sales, you have a higher chance of actually selling something. Also, you just want to, like Nathaniel touched on the Goldilocks zone, you want to stay within a certain range. Otherwise, you're going to go too far down where there are possibly some sales, but not enough to justify you putting your time, energy, and effort to make that product to try to target those customers.
Yes, and then the last step that we have, step 5, is that we want less than a million BSR, and that's that best sellers rank. We're going to show you a tool even to look at that for free, but that represents that our monthly sales happening there, and that's just due to the type of products that we're selling. A monthly sale is usually pretty good.
Yeah, I think you wrapped that up nicely. It is just, we want to see, and again, this is mostly focused for Amazon, but we want to see that there's some products with less than a million BSR because those normally mean that they're selling multiple times a month. Not always a guarantee, but it's just a guideline to look at. If we are going to put our time, energy, and effort into something, we'd like it to sell more than just once a month. Your business could be different. That's what we try to look for when we put the time in to start testing our products.
Now, our full disclaimer, if you want to go back to my face real quick so I can talk about this, is that there's a lot of nuance inside of this business as well. So like we said, we used to try to give exact numbers and exactly what you're looking for, even the way like titles are written and everything. But what we've learned over the years is that what works for us in our business is different for other people, like Stephen hinted to and said directly. So know that this is our 5-step test, but as again Stephen said, these are not rules that you have to follow. They're not written in stone, but it's just our suggestion for doing this thing for almost 4 years now of what we found accurate and that can help us speed up our time. So as we're going through this, there are going to be probably some curveballs that get thrown at us and we're like, yeah, that is the rule, but or if you guys are asking questions in chat, we might give you answers that might not exactly follow these rules, but again, it's just this wealth of knowledge that we have. But as it's unfair to just be like, okay, do this for 3 years, then you'll know as much as us. We want to give you guys some
That should be my advice from
baselines.
now on. Just keep doing it for 3 years, and then you'll figure it out.
Yeah, we want to give you guys some baseline things to look at, to understand. And so the best way that me and Stephen think that we can do that is just by going over the shoulder and showing you guys, here are some things that we're seeing when we look at this page from all of our experience put together. So yeah, I think go ahead and jump into that. I think enough disclaimers and talking about it. Let's actually just jump in and do it.
So we'll start on Amazon. I guess the first thing I want to point out is just if you're going after a niche, something that we like to do is just type in the seed keyword, single keyword. It can be 2 or 3 keywords, but most of the time when you're doing a seed keyword, you want it to be a single keyword and just look at Amazon and kind of see what's there. This will let you see that are these customers just looking for shirts? Are they looking for other products? This is not necessarily where we want our product to show up because as we can tell just from the first few products that there's no defined product in the market. So if someone types in cat, they could want cat food, they could want cat in a hat book, they could want some gloves, probably for brushing the cat, some cat shoes. Like it's all over the place. This is not necessarily the place that we want to target. I should say it like that. We would love for our product to show up here, but this isn't really a place that we want to start targeting and trying to get our shirts to show up.
And just to give a little bit of reasoning why is because, again, we're trying to use Amazon for what it is a search engine. And that search engine is helping people selling products get in front of people who are looking for those products. So if we are ranking on this page, apparel or some type of shirt or something, and people are looking for these cat gloves, then they're probably just going to breeze right over our product and just go straight to those cat gloves. They're not too interested in what we have to sell. So, it's built into our rules a little bit, but just giving some context of why Stephen's saying that. It's because we're trying to use the information that Amazon's giving us about the customers who are already shopping here. That's the power of print on demand. We get to target customers that are already there.
I like that, brother. All right, so since we are doing merch by Amazon today, we're going to put in t-shirt. And as you can see, it autocompletes as shirt. I'm actually going to put t-shirt because that is the product that we are going after. Oh, and it changed to shirt. Anyway, that's fine. I didn't want to show t-shirt anyway. So cat shirt. As you can see, the results drastically dropped. It was at 200,000. Now we're at 40,000.
So that upper right hand corner is where we're seeing the results for what Amazon is telling us. Like, this is about how many products are here. For just cat, it was 200,000. Now that we're niching down a little bit more and going to cat shirt, this is 40,000. So like whatever, 1/4 of the traffic, if that math is somewhat correct.
Close. I was going to point out, like, this number is, I don't know how to say this. I've gone back and forth. I've said Amazon lied. Then I said Amazon's not telling the full truth. I don't know if they're lying on purpose. I think they're testing different things here, and it's their sandbox, so you kind of have to just figure it out. But it used to say like multiple millions for cat shirts. But as you can go down and go past the first page, that number will start to jump up. Most Amazon pages now will not go past 7. So even if it's saying that there's hundreds of thousands of results here, you won't be able to see them by clicking next. So why I point this out is most of the time when we do market research, the number that shows up after you go past page 1 doesn't really affect us. We want to know that, okay, there is probably a lot of products here. What's on the first page? And how can I use that number up top to just help guide me to what I should be doing next? So 40,000, 100,000, 2 million, regardless, that number is too high for me to test. I'm looking for smaller numbers. That's why, I'll pull this again, brother. I think this was a genius idea.
Yes, I was about to tell you to pull it over.
Fewer results is what we are looking for. Again, not a perfect number. There's not like, oh, we're looking for 100 only, just fewer. The more you do this, the 3 years that you're going to put in to do this, you'll find the number that works best for you. Testing this out and just keeping this in the back of your head, or even writing it on an Excel doc like how we like to do, and just tracking this information. Hey, I tested 20,000. That was too much. I can't really find my shirts, or they're not selling. Now I've gone after 2,000. That seems to work better for me. I wonder if I go lower, higher. You just have to find out the fewer results, the number that works best for you.
Yeah, and not only is that going to change per like product that you're going after or listing that you're trying to make, but also the niches can be wildly drastic. So something like cat that Steven's showing off, like, we know that this is one of, if not the most popular niche for t-shirts. Like, people on the internet just love cats, and they love wearing shirts with cats on them. It's been a fact that's proven itself over and over for us. So that's why we're showing off cat as this like huge niche that we're going to be able to niche down into a little bit. But if you're going after something super unique, I can only think of stuff that I'm not supposed to say right now. Then, you know,
but we can say politics, because that was one that we're showing people how to go after.
If you're going after politics and you're going for a certain verbiage of a politic or a certain politician or whatever, your results are going to be probably way less than whatever that page was, 40,000. It might even be, 1,000 or 500. So saying fewer compared from cats to politicians or politics, that's going to be much fewer. But if you're inside of the politics niche and you kind of know, like, the biggest number that I've ever seen here is 1,000, then you're looking for something less than 1,000. As for cats, if the biggest number you've ever seen is 40,000, then you're looking for something less than 40,000. So it's all relative, again, not only to the product, but also the niche and what you're going after as far as the keyword and the things that you're trying to target your shirts or your listings for those certain customers.
Yeah, know your niche. That's part of the asset that you're building. So like Nathaniel said, if you're constantly going after this niche and you know the number, and you can say, hey, most of the time when I'm doing research, it's this number, this is a lot less. That's a huge value add and asset that you can use to outcompete your competitors, to go, hey, looks like it's new and emerging. I'm seeing a big difference here. Now I can start putting products here and having a lot more success than my competitors. So Alien Cat Shirt, I should have maybe showed that this auto-completed, but you can see that it auto-completes. Oops.
So again, just break that down. The auto-completes, we talked about it, but that is the results bar, or the search bar. And so that's our first rule. We're looking for it to autocomplete. So when we're typing it in, we want Amazon to complete that thing for us.
I feel like Vanna White. It autofills. Number one. So it auto completes, and then again we're looking for the results. I don't know if it's actually 525 other listings here, but irregardless, it's less than 40,000. I'm happy. This is what I'm looking for, to start testing to see if it's worth my time. I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to get my listings to show up where there's 40,000, because it's going to take a lot of time, energy, and effort. I have to really nail down the keywords. I've really got to figure out what's going on there and possibly get some sales to get my shirt to show up there. Whereas here, it's a much easier to compete and find success, like Mateo said, finding that Goldilocks zone.
So as Stephen covered, this kind of passes the first two parts of that 5-step test, and I'll have him talk about the BSR when he gets back. But the art is the next thing that we start looking at when we think that we found an area that we want to try some listings or try to put up some of our own ideas here. So the first thing I try to do is just look at the top 2 rows or whatever fits on my screen and see if there's any trends that I can pull out and see, that there are customers that are coming here and they're not just looking for all kinds of random things, but they are kind of narrowed in on what they're actually purchasing, so what they're actually buying. So we can see that through the BSR, but we want to make sure that the designs are somewhat lining up. So as we're scrolling through, you can see that the color green, because it's alien stuff, is pretty popular, and also like these little funny looking Martian guys, like very cartoony. Usually most of them are not very like realistic. They're kind of cartoony guys, and again, we told you guys cats are popular. This is, I forget the exact landing page, it's alien cat shirt, I think. So you're going to want to put those two things together. So aliens and cats and some type of humor looks like that's kind of what's tying all of this together, whether directly in the saying or whether like how the alien character and the cat character are interacting. So that's the type of things that I'm seeing as we're going through this page. And so again, we're not trying to take any one of these designs directly or copy or steal them or anything. We're just trying to take inspiration from the page overall to see what's popular that customers are already purchasing. Again, I've said this once, I'm going to say it a million times tonight. We're trying to use the information that Amazon is giving us to target the customers that are looking for products here. Someone on their computer, on their phone, or whatever has typed in this saying, and they're looking for something to buy. That's their intent when they come to Amazon. So we want to provide them with something that, it meets what they're typing in, right? We want to create a design that has an alien and a cat and some type of humor in it, because that's what we're seeing is popular. So usually I don't scroll down this far in the page, but you guys can see like there's a ton of different ideas that are working here as well. So part of that Goldilocks thing is you want to make sure that you're in just that like just right middle space. You don't want to be so specific that you're just, again, copying someone's artwork, but you also don't want to be so general that you're just coming up with something completely random outside of the box. You don't want to have purple aliens with a dog on this page. Like that's too far, outside of what these customers are looking for. So you want to be right there in the middle. This one's real creepy. I don't know why you stopped here.
Well, I was going to point out something that has thrown newer people off that I know. This is like one of those tidbits where we just take it for granted. These are sponsored ads, and I'm assuming most people know this, but for anybody that doesn't, this might give you a false sense of the market if you're looking at sponsored ads. So just be aware of these little. Anytime there's a sponsored ad, it should, in theory, have this here where it says sponsored ad. But you can see that these are stacking up. You might say, oh, these are really working because there's 3 of them here. But as you can see, that they have not sold. There are no BSRs. It's just somebody's paying for these ads. And that's why they're showing up here, along with this one. So there were some other sponsored ads sprinkled in. But as you can see, these are not selling. We normally, I don't want to say discount, but we don't tend to put much stock in things that are sponsored ads because they change so rapidly. It's hard to know if that stuff is really what customers want. The stuff that's showing up here organically is the stuff that we would more than likely draw inspiration from.
Yeah, and even if those sponsored ads are there and they have a rank of like 10, that means that they're probably being put in a ton of different places, and this is just like collateral damage. It's not necessarily they've targeted this page, super specifically or anything like that.
Yeah,
And you can
because
see for the most part that the sponsored ads are like not what the rest of the shirts on this page
exactly.
really look like.
Because I was going to point out, these aren't really cat or alien. They're cat, but they're not really alien cat specific. But they are both sponsored ads. One is selling very well, and the other one is not. I wouldn't necessarily go and target, oh, cat alien shirts. They're going to love this cat with glasses shirt. Just be aware of what you're looking at, and these sponsored ads could give you a false sense, like I said, of the market. Even though this one is a sponsored ad, but again, it has not sold. But you can still pull the elements like Nathaniel said, the green color, the cat. Make sure that you have certain elements in your shirt, and you're more than likely to find success. Unlike when we were first doing it and going, hey, look at this. This is simple and easy for us to design. Let's throw that up there, and then realize that it doesn't have anything to do with...
the customers wanted it all. So I know I kind of breezed through that, but there are 3 things that you can kind of be looking for once you've found an area that you want to at least test a listing. And Stephen kind of said it, but the color of like what's the most dominant color, maybe 2 colors that you're seeing, the actual image on the shirts. So again, is it cats and aliens? Is it just like an alien cat combination? What style of art is there? Is it like super cartoony, realistic? And then the third thing, like what is the saying on the shirt? Some of these landing zones or some of these results pages are completely driven by just words on the shirt. They don't care what it looks like. They just want this saying on the shirt. Maybe they do care what it looks like, but it has to have this saying on the shirt. So picking up on those 3 things, what are the main colors that are being used? What kind of artwork is being used on the shirt? And then are there any sayings that are maybe driving traffic? And you'll be able to tell that like fairly quickly. I don't know if we'll stumble upon one tonight, but some of these landing zones or results pages are only text-based shirts. So the second thing that I asked, like what type of art is working here, it's like, well, it's text-based art. So clearly we need to know what that text is saying. We need to do trademark and all that good stuff. But as you're looking over those pages, checking for those 3 things, if you're not an artist like me, you can kind of just absorb all of that information and come out with something of your own. Those 3 points are helpful to look at. The color, the type of art, and what those shirts are saying are just good things to key in on.
See, if you had a visual, I could have slid that on in when you was talking. And again, maybe I should just, as I take a letter off, you can kind of see that these are auto-completing.
Hold on. This is off topic, but something that just caught my eye, and I think is good to point out here. I don't know if this is a great spot to point it out, but these 3 shirts on the top are very similar. 2 of them are exactly the same, and one of them has the funniest change to me that I have seen in a while. The thumbnail, like not even the art, just like the thickness of the lines and the coloring is changed a little bit. Like the color for the text is changed, but also just like that hand.
I think it's a whole nother fist, isn't it? Because this one doesn't have the lines. It's almost like when you were younger, you had one of these things is different.
Yeah, right? Like there are some differences.
Small, but yeah. This one definitely has thicker lines.
So minute. So this is the level of which some people test these shirts. And funny enough, we have found small little differences like this do actually... Yeah, they make a difference. So when someone's asking us, how do I split test, and all the stuff that we'll cover later on, we've covered in depth in the past. But I just wanted to point this out because I don't know, it's just funny to me that it's like the fingernails on this person's hand that are like changed just slightly, not even the color, just like the hand artwork itself is changed just a little bit. But that's the level of which they're testing things. Can you scroll down and can we see the BSR? Have either of
these are sponsored ads?
Okay, so look. There's differences in all 3 of these price points. So I'm sure the first one and the third one have some different keywords that are thrown in there. So that's why their BSR is different. But the middle one, or the second one and the first one also have differences in the artwork. And that's why, the third one's art is actually different as well. Sorry, I'm completely nerding out. But just the level of
I only know this because we were just looking over the visual aid that we were creating. This one has that like effect. I don't know.
It has an effect, and the lines behind it's called the weather effect.
Weather effect.
and the lines behind the fist are like slightly thicker. So it's just so funny, like the tiny little differences. But clearly you can see that they make a big difference in the sales velocity that they're having. So that was completely rabbit trail. If you're not ready for all that like minute stuff, that's fine. But if you're watching this call kind of knowing that you know most of this information, like some of you guys on YouTube have indicated, this is something that you can pick up on, like just the crazy amount of like little things that you can change about your shirt to see if you can get different sales. That third one, you know, selling at $1 million is probably like once or twice a month, and that first one is probably selling once or twice a week, and that can be a big difference, you know, in sales velocity. So just funny to see how crazy minute you can make these changes. I'm glad that they did have BSRs and it wasn't just me like picking up on this random split testing, but this guy is, and look at all the different versions he has here. Yeah, so just very interesting. Like he's figured out what these customers want, and now he's doing like the super
Doubling
fine
down.
tuning
Yeah.
of like exactly what these customers want. But that is the beauty of print on demand. You get to just keep tweaking things, and if you found something that works, like even making small little changes like this, and notice he's not just using one listing and trying to change it over and over again. He's making new listings, even putting up super similar art, and trying to figure out what's working, what these customers are going to scroll through, stop on, and actually purchase. So I do apologize. That was a complete art rant, but just really fascinating for me to see someone else doing it to that much of a
Fine
yeah,
tuned
fine
level.
detail. Yeah.
Yeah, when we talk about doubling down, people are always concerned like how similar should I make this? And I say like if you're not an artist like me, even changing up small colors, like you see how this one has that lighter color and this one has a darker color, that's still a difference. That's still another way to double down and test. And like Nathaniel pointed out, there's all kinds of small tweaks in here and changes, but you have to be an artist to see all these things. Like me as a layman, I'm not an artist. Like I see, okay, one has a different color, the other one, like I didn't even see the hands at first, but that is a small change that you can do. I don't know about how easy that is to do, but if you're an artist, it should be fairly simple to do, but it makes it so you have a long line of products that you can test inside the market. This person probably started with one, saw some success, and doubled down. That's what we kind of go back to, and just made a lot of small tweaks. And imagine if, irregardless if this was his only one that he put in there and it was selling really good, or this one that's selling maybe once a month, like this one's selling multiple times a week versus this one once a month. Like that's a huge difference in the amount of money that you can make. And you can see that there's small changes in between these, but he didn't just make those two shirts. He made this one. I'm sure if we scroll
All
down
right, I
more.
don't want to harp on this forever.
Well, I do, because this is really what we're trying to get at. Like find a place, test the market. Once it starts working, double down and find more success. This is a perfect example of this. I don't know how many times we run into this where it's this small changes having this much
Well,
additional sales velocity.
and this is like a lot of the answers that we give, you know, whether it's during the week or on this call, is like try both. And this guy is clearly trying both, and he's leaving both of them there. Like he's got how many variations of the same type of art, and they're all selling to some degree. So not only does he have one that's selling like every week and every month, but he's got like everything in between as well, which yeah, is just fascinating. I love seeing our advice at work. I don't know if this person watches our show or even knows who we are. But this is the type of thing that we're trying to show you guys without directly showing you what we're doing. This is just something we stumbled upon, and you can see how many shirts he has, and a lot of them have BSR. I think I've seen one so far that hasn't had sales on it.
Yeah, and there's no way to truly tell if it's the same person, but I would say there's a high likelihood that most of those shirts are the same
yeah,
person.
because the changes of the art is so minute. Like you'd have to have access, not have to, but it's a lot easier if you have access to the actual art files to make those small changes instead of like recreating, or like a bunch of people recreating it.
But it goes into that, like, find what the customers want and give it to them. Don't overcomplicate this. Like, this might be his too, and this one's really
Well, look at
working.
that.
And you can see the price is, he's pushing the price up.
Yeah, under 100,000 BSR and reviews on it, which is a hard thing to do with print on demand, is get reviews. So like, this is all very impressive. Good job, guy, whoever you are.
I do think it's worth like harping on those points, because I think a lot of stuff that we say is very, I'm sorry, that might be too fast, but a lot of similar advice. Like there are foundational pieces that you need and understanding, But after that, then it's like testing and tweaking and trying. The more we help people, starting to see like it's not a science, but it is an art form. Like with a science, like you would just put these two things together and this is the result. Like it doesn't ever truly work like that, but there are some things that you can look at, like our validation test, to help you save time. And that's really what we're trying to help you guys with, is save time, find success, and then continue to grow and scale off that success. POD is a scaling business model. Once you build the asset and you're making small tweaks like that, it's not the same amount of time that it took to find, do all that market research, gather the keywords, create the art. I'll ask you, brother, if you had to make 100 of those variations, how long would it take if all you're doing is just changing out that hand?
And it depends on the artwork a little bit, but as long as you knew that that's the direction that you were going to head, not very long. It's literally like clicking on something, changing the stroke on it, which is like scrolling up on your mouse, saving it, and uploading that again, or changing a color, like clicking on it, changing a new color, and then saving it and exporting it. So as long as you've created the file in a way that allows you to do that kind of thing, then not very long at all.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, is just you do a lot of work in the beginning to find success, but once you have that success, double down, test out a whole bunch of different things. We don't know every marketplace, otherwise we'd be going after it and not talking to anybody. As we've helped people, there are certain niches that we've gone after and hammered, just like continue to go after, because we know people in that market are willing to spend money, willing to buy products. We just can't break into it. We will help somebody else that's trying to go after the same market, and then they will have success and crush it. And we are like, we're doing the same things that we're telling you to do, and we just can't figure this out. And it's vice versa. Sometimes we tell people, hey, this is the advice, this is what's working for us, then it doesn't work for them. Everybody's skill level is different, their understanding is different, and what the market wants varies so wildly that we can only see what's there, leverage Amazon to help us, but ultimately the tweak or the different change or the test that you run and really take off, that's what the customers are truly looking for. We don't know that until we put products out into the market. And that's why I know we haven't said this in a while, but just test, get that stuff to market as soon and as quick as possible. Figure out what the market wants, see what's working, and then double down from that. That is how you can really scale and grow your print on demand business. Because imagine that guy has it just on shirts. If he put it on tank tops, put it on hoodies, put it on other apparel inside Merch's ecosystem, and then really tweaked it and said, hey, this is the one that really works. Let's now put it on a coffee mug. Oh, let's put it on just a plethora of other products. Take it away from Amazon. That's really what we'd like to show you guys and grow and scale a business. But like I said, we've gotten a lot of questions of just how to start. We wanted to boil it back down to this is what we do. We look at the page. We're really trying to find those things that autocomplete. We want to see less results. Then we want to just look over the page. Are these things selling? And then what, from a art standpoint, should we be pulling out of this and then using in our listing?
We know that we have some people who've been watching us for a while, so like even these little details that we're seeing and stuff that jumps out at me and Steven, I guess with that information, that doesn't mean, again, that we're just like using that art exactly and going and creating that for ourselves and making our own little tweak to it and putting it up there, but it's just to show you guys what is possible. So you make those first couple of listings trying to figure out the market. When you have sales, then that doubling down piece is so impactful, because that one sale doesn't mean that you just had one product sell. It means that you've found kind of the pathway that customers are taking, and you've made an image that the customers actually like. So taking that information and really expanding it from there, even from the little color changes, the little artwork changes, and like Steven said, then moving it to other products, other platforms. Like one piece of artwork can really explode for you guys, and that's just proof that it works right there as we stumbled upon tonight. So just
I
really
like
cool.
doing this. I guess if you guys want us to go after a niche or look at a niche and just give our opinion on the results page, put that in the comments below. We'll start maybe making this a reoccurring theme or segment. We will look over the results page and just give you our 2 cents on the matter. I know that's something that you kind of offered in the past, is doing those account audits. I know time is tight with all the stuff that we're trying to do. I know you're trying to find 20 minutes in your day to help more people. I guess if you're new to us, we like to jump on calls with people. That's really what we love to do, is help people more one-on-one. Our business is tight with all the time that we have to put into different things. But we want to be able to offer those calls again. Nathaniel's offering, I was going to say special, but he's trying to cut out times of his day to be able to help people. We love answering questions. The question of the week comes from one of those people reaching out to us. I don't know if you jumped on a call with them or not, but it's the same concept. If you jump on a 20-minute call with us, we can help you with small issues, problems. We know people get frustrated and run into walls, and you need like personal advice. This is what Nathaniel's setting that time aside for. So if you have a problem or if you're getting stuck somewhere, reach out to Nathaniel. I think we'll put a link in the description below. I don't know exactly how you have that. You have a calendar link set up for that now?
Yeah, you guys see that he's saying we are trying to help
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's why I'm laughing over here.
And by we, I mean
and Nathaniel's schedule is very busy, but he's trying to find time. No, but I really, really do enjoy this, and this is something that I want to make a priority in my business, not only because I like the relationship part of this business and interacting with you guys, but it's just such a like unique amount of information that I have about a specific thing that it feels good to kind of like exercise those muscles. And even tonight, like just picking up on that one little thing and going on a tangent, I hope that information is helpful, but I feel like I'm able to do that as well, helping you guys out. So whether it's a wall that you've run into or something you want to talk about, whether it's the fundraising ideas that I brought up 2 weeks in a row now, or this new direction that we are talking about, again, not new, I guess. It's a topic that we're bringing up again, which is the organic search. Like if that's something you guys need help with, if you want me to just look at some of the listings that you've done, I'm more than happy to cover all of that in a 20-minute call and try to make it concise, as long as you guys can indicate on the link that Stephen will post, what you're contacting me with, because now we're covering a lot of different things. It keeps getting added, which is fine. It's cool. But I just want to make sure that I am mentally prepared to talk with you guys and give you the best advice that I can. So it is, again, 20 minutes for $20. We're just trying to make concise calls, but customized, and your wingman trying to help you exactly where you're at. That's what we started this whole thing on. That's what I want to continue to do, and just trying to find the time to do that. But that's my little plug for that. I was almost going to say what Steven's forcing me to do, but he's not. He's just heavily encouraging me to do that.
You could say force this.
I
I know
doing
people
it.
want these calls, and I know the time is tight. Somebody got to do this. We should really do this.